There's a 75% line every law school in America has to stay above. And if a school falls under it, the ABA can pull its accreditation. Most people applying to law school right now have never heard of it, but their school knows that number cold. They just don't put it in the brochure. Now, here's the rule: within 2 years of graduating, at least 75% of a school's grads who take the bar have to pass it. That is the ABA Standard 316. It's been the law of the land since 2019, and it's the tightest version of the rule the ABA has ever enforced. Now, think about what that means for a second. A school can admit you, take 3 years of your tuition, hand you a diploma, and still be sitting one bad bar cycle away from a fight with its own accreditor. And you, the person who just borrowed 6 figures, are the one holding the risk. Today I'm going to tell you what admissions won't. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and the question I get more than any other besides how do I get a 175 is this school actually going to be worth it? And so I read the filings. Every ABA approved law school has to publish a report every year called the 509. It's public and almost nobody reads it. But buried in that report is the one number that tells you whether a school is admitting people it can actually get across the finish line. And I'll show you exactly where to find it in a minute, but first you've got to understand why this cliff exists at all. For years, the bar passage rule was soft. Schools had a 5-year window to get people licensed, and there were so many ways to technically comply that no school was ever found out of compliance. Think about that. A rule that nobody could fail isn't really a rule. But then in 2019, the ABA tightened it to a 2-year window, 75% have to pass. And suddenly, that rule had some real teeth behind it. And so, who's exposed? It's not going to be the top schools. If you're looking at a school where the median LSAT is up in the 170s, their grads pass the bar at rates in the 90s. And so that cliff is not real to them. Now, this video isn't telling you that law school is a scam, because for a lot of people, at the right school and the right price, it's genuinely a good bet. I've never thought law school is a scam, and I still don't. The schools on the edge, though, are the ones at the bottom. Those are the schools that will take an applicant with a much lower score, charge close to full price, and quietly count on enough of those students passing the bar to keep the accreditor off their back. When the class is strong, they clear 75% easily. When the class is weak, they don't. And a school under pressure to fill seats has every reason to admit the weaker class. So you see the trap here? The exact school most likely to say yes to a borderline applicant is the exact school most likely to be scraping that line. Now, I went back and forth on whether to name specific schools here because a single bad cycle could be an outlier, and I don't want to torture place over one hard year. So I'll say it this way. There is a cluster of schools right now sitting close enough to that 75% threshold that a couple of bad bar administrations would put them in real trouble with the ABA. And we've already seen what the far end of this looks like. I've made a whole video recently about a school where roughly half the graduating class failed the bar in a single cycle. And that's not bad luck. That's a school admitting people who were long shots to begin with, and they let them borrow the money to find out the hard way. Now, here's what should make you angry. When a student fails the bar, the school already got paid. That tuition check cleared years ago. The loan is now the student's problem, not the school's, and so the incentive is backwards. The school gets the money up front and offloads the risk onto the exact person who can least afford to carry it. A 22-year-old with no law license and a mortgage-sized loan and no house. That's the villain here. It's not the professors or the buildings, it's the structure. The rule only affects someone when the school gets greedy, and a financing system that pays the school whether or not you ever practiced law. And so what do you do with this? You flip it, because the same 509 report the schools hope you never open is the single best tool you have. And once you know how to read it, the whole thing tips in your favor. And so here's what you want to do. Before you pay a deposit anywhere, you pull that school's 509 report. You search the school's name plus 509 report or standard 509. It's a 2-page PDF, and you're looking for 2 things. First is the bar passage numbers. You find the first time bar passage rate and the ultimate 2-year rate. If the 2-year number is anywhere close to 75%, that's a warning. It means the school is running near the edge of its own accreditation, and it means a meaningful chunk of the people who sat where you're about to sit did not get licensed. The other thing you want to look for are the LSAT and GPA medians, specifically the 25th percentile. That tells you who the school is willing to let in at the bottom. If that number is low and the bar passage number is shaky, you're looking at a school that's just looking to fill seats. And if you would be at or below that 25th percentile, that would be putting you in the exact same position the bar exam is hardest on. Now, the good news is that your LSAT score is the one thing in this entire equation that's still in your hands. Your GPA is probably pretty locked at this point. You can't control the economy or the ABA or the school's incentives, but you do control your LSAT score. And your LSAT score is what puts you from the bottom of a shaky school's class to the top of a solid one. At the bottom of the range, you are a risk they are absorbing, and so you're paying full sticker tuition. You're the student the bar is going to come for. But if you move your score up into the school's top quartile, you get into better schools where the bar passage cliff is not even a factor. You stop being the student the school is worried about, and you're the student they want, which is the student they pay to enroll. And the same score that got you in the door starts getting you real scholarship money because schools buy high scores to protect their own medians. You could be the same person with the same GPA, but if you have a different LSAT score, it gets you real scholarship money, lets you take on less debt, gets you into better schools. It could completely change the trajectory of your legal career. And so if you want my help getting a higher LSAT score, getting more scholarship money, I'm happy to help you out. I'm offering free LSAT tutoring for everybody watching this now or later. You can book that free LSAT tutoring lesson with me at unpluggedprep.com/start. The link is below the video on YouTube, pinned in the chat on YouTube, in my bio on TikTok and IG.